Hello and welcome to the 4Corners podcast. I'm Brad, joined as always by Matt and Shad. Gentlemen, how are you doing this evening?
I'm sick of
Doing
snow and
fine.
ice.
Yeah,
Ah, yeah, I was complaining
Angry
about
about
that.
snow and ice.
yeah.
I was complaining about that. They did not. It's been over a week, and I guess the county, the local officials here, just decided to throw up their hands and been like, "Well, we did enough, right?" And it's like, no, no, not remotely. I think their attitude is like, "Well, it'll eventually get above freezing, so we'll just let it melt." And it's like, it's today, yesterday, I think was the first day it was above freezing, and like well over a week. So like the wait and melt method is not working for me. Not when I have
Oh,
like
well,
kids
Ha-
home and
have
yeah.
you considered that their Hawaiian vacations won't fund themselves if they actually plow, Matt?
Uh, I don't know. Much like I think that much like a lot of people in the government or whatever, it's like you elect them, it's like expect us to work now. It's like yeah, that's kind of the whole deal, right? Like you get the job, I vote you
you
in,
got
like you
yeah,
do things for me, like
you got
I don't
elected
know.
to do the job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
I guess we will be talking today about the Royal Rumble, and we have another match of the week. That's going to be an experiment. I've kind of enjoyed the one match a week idea on top of another topic, but we'll see how that goes going forward. But that's just kind of an experiment right now.
Mm.
We Shad and I might briefly laugh about Ashes of Creation dying, a terrible, terrible
mm,
death.
Yeah, yeah.
Though I think it's pretty.
That's
I guess Steam froze their funds.
Steam does not play, man. It is, man. I know people gave Newell a hard time about not making Half-Life 3, but to be honest with you, he's done way more good with Steam.
Yeah. Do we? So I'm guessing Steam was like a last attempt to pump more money into it to keep it afloat is what I'm guessing happened there, and they just didn't have enough money.
Oh, for I don't know. That's one of those stories that was floating around that I only had a very loose grasp on. But let me put it this way: if Steam takes your stuff down, then you've been doing what you ought not have been doing.
Yeah, because it was kind of in that nebulous Star Citizen thing, but I guess Star Citizen's actually kind of like playable, and they've
You can, yes,
I've heard it's gotten a lot
you can
better. Like
play
the
Star
last,
Citizen.
I've heard that's actually gotten better the last year because they stopped listening to their super fans and started making it like an actual game that is friendly to newcomers and stuff. So, um,
Right, because you can only drain so much blood from the whales for so long.
yeah,
Um, the truth is that I think Star Citizen is still in early access.
yeah,
But here's how bad Star Citizen got: is that there was they put out this thing that said, "Oh, we're going to put carriers in the game, and for your squadron or whatever to have a carrier, it's going to cost I don't know several thousand real dollars," and people still bought it.
yeah. It's a
And
weird
I'm just
game.
like,
It's kind of weird because like there is that stuff, but I had looked at it at one point just to see if I wanted to check it out, what it would cost. And it was like, oh yeah, here's if you do $40, here's like a starter ship. Go do whatever you want. You can just go from there. You don't need anything else. I'm like, oh, okay, like that's fair.
just just go play Elite Dangerous instead.
Yeah,
What Elite Dangerous did is when you play that, none of the ships are locked behind DLC. You grind out the credits to buy the ships, and you're off to the races. You don't have to buy the DLC to have access to any of the vessels. So, and if you buy it once, then you can just play it that way, and for as long as you want to.
yes, but do I get the Eve Online experience of having my ship blown up while being called slurs because that's what I'm looking for in a game.
mm,
Uh, that's not as common, but it can happen.
Actually, I have played Eve off and on, and you do get your ship blown up, but the community's a little friendlier than you would expect.
Have they chilled out?
Yeah, I think so. I think at
That's
least
good,
enough of
because
them are self-aware now.
there's some stories about Eve Online,
I mean, we're talking about the community
but
outside of the game. When you're in the game, there's no allusions to what's going on.
no, I meant the fact that because for Eve Online, you can. It's one of those games where you can earn the currency to effectively pay for your MMO subscription in game.
Yeah.
And then they had like this big operation where basically the equivalent of like $50,000 real money went down in this huge kerfuffle. And it's just like, what? Wait, what? What's that? You know what? I don't play that game.
I didn't realize,
So,
I guess in some countries, it's actually more, I would say, how should we say, profitable and easier to make a living grinding gold and old school
mhm.
RuneScape than it is to actually have like an actual job.
Yeah. Yeah,
Which,
yeah, you got the gold farms.
which another interesting game that I dabble in every now and then.
I will fully admit I cursed both our schedule and Arrowhead today because the new war bond for Helldivers dropped today, and it includes a big tank. And I'm like, "Ugh, well, my friends are driving a big tank, and I have a laser shotgun." Yeah, it
Oh, everything comes on the
cursed
same day.
schedule.
I also want to
Yeah,
check out that Iron Lung movie. Is that the Markiplier movie?
yeah, Iron Lung.
That's the Markiplier movie. I don't
I've
know anything about the games you're talking about. I don't really
MMOs
play like
and MMOs and
yeah, I would not. I have nothing against MMOs. I just never found time in my schedule to do that. And
yeah.
also, I don't really play PC games. Although I've said before, like at some point, I want to get the Steam Deck so I can maybe play that. But yeah, Iron Lung is the Markiplier movie. I've never played the original game, but I guess he was a big fan. He like actually got the funding for the movie.
Well, he funded that out of
And
his own pocket.
well, I mean, I think. Well, I mean, I don't imagine he just like let me go to the bank account and write a check. Like I mean, although I'm sure he has money, I'm sure he did work to get it funded. But
It's
yeah, I think he made it for 3 million, and it this past weekend, I think it was like number two. I think it made like
No,
17
it
million.
made number one, and then they took it
Oh, it
off the
did make number
charts
one.
because they took it off the chart because it was beating Send Help. Um, but not straight up, Markiplier funded that movie out of his own pocket because he doesn't
Look,
spend money on like a lot of stuff.
mhm.
So he gets, he would have a lot of capital sitting around, and he just can't. He turns around and reinvests stuff a lot. So yeah,
uh,
he just had the
I
cash for it.
it's already in one weekend like massively profitable because I've always heard in Hollywood that however much it costs you to make a movie, it needs you need to make a lot more than that in the sense that
2.5.
like however much you spend.
2.5
Well,
is
I always how much? I'm sorry,
2.5.
2.5. That's probably about right because I've always heard you need to make at least like double because if you make a movie for like this 3 million, then it's like you're
Mm,
going to put 3 million into marketing, and you don't
yeah,
actually even if you make like well I made 6 million and made it back, it's like yeah but you didn't because whatever profit you make you actually have to split with like the movie theaters. So
Yeah.
2.5 would probably be right because then it's like if you make
And the
if
advertising's
it's a
not
$3 million
figured into the
movie.
budget either.
Well, if you make 3 million, you have to put out 3 million at 6 million. You have to split money with the thing.
Yeah.
So it's like maybe that 7.5 million. It's like,
It
oh, now I broke even. Not made money, broke
it
even.
gets
But
more complicated than that because when they go overseas, they actually get a better cut from overseas. So if you're domestic heavy, you have to do better. Um, but there's also issues of they're not honest about the budget. So we found out like a couple months ago that like Deadpool and Wolverine was still profitable, but it made far, far less money than you would think it did. And I even think Rise of Skywalker, when they did the actual filings on that, I think it actually lost money for how much it made.
that's really rather insane.
Yeah, but
And
remember
that's just
you have to remember how
yeah.
undisciplined both Marvel and especially Lucasfilm is, where they don't care about doing shit right. They care about like doing it fast, and then they fix it in post, which is more expensive. But then like the last Captain America movie, they did a lot of reshoots, and reshoots are insanely expensive to do.
Yeah. So Iron
Yeah.
Lung, at last count, I think made it made like 12.8 million.
I think it's interesting that
Um,
it's doing so well, and well, it had bad word of mouth, but like Chris Stuckman's Shelby Oaks, like maybe made a little bit of profit and had bad word of mouth and only made like $2 million.
Apparently, one of the things that happened with Iron Lung is that theaters thought that whenever the tickets went up for sale, theaters thought they were getting hit with bot stuff because fans were logging on and just buy ticket like as soon as it dropped. So they're like, yeah, well, no, we're gonna have to avoid all that because it's bots. And then they're getting phone calls from fans like, no, this is the ticket number I purchased. I'm a real person. You know,
Well, it
don't be like
also
that.
it's broken containment though, and like people that are outside of his audience now, like I don't know who Markiplier is, but like oh this sounds good, like it's got that going for it.
Yeah. Um,
I I only I didn't know about it. I didn't know he was doing it. All I know, and I have not watched his content really,
I don't even
but I'm aware of who he is. So I saw like a news headline saying like Markiplier's movie, like like doing incredibly well at the box office. I'm like, well, he made a movie, and I had no idea. I thought just like a dumb movie he made, like a comedy or whatever. Or maybe he's doing some jackass type of thing where he's like, because that's what a lot of these YouTube people. Again, I haven't seen his content, so I don't know. But a lot of these content creators, it's like they do wacky skits or challenges or nonsense like that. Like the Mr. Beast, it's like I put two guys in an empty Walmart. Can they survive for 24 hours? It's like okay, but I thought of that nonsense. So I thought,
that's
oh, was it
yeah.
just like a big budget version of this? And it's like no, he actually wrote and directed like a adaptation of a video game apparently because he was just a fan and it's like an actual horror movie and I was like oh okay well good for him. I actually, as an aside, and maybe I've talked about this one on the show before, but I I feel like if you want to break into the movie industry, make a horror film or get into I know some people who
that
like
didn't
that's not their thing.
that did not work for Chris Stuckman, but his movie sucked. So that is. But
So
he's not the first content creator that's done a horror movie that's been super successful. There have been two or three recently that started from like a content creator, and some of those made like a lot of money.
So with this one, just so you know, Matt, Markiplier's whole thing is he was one of the earliest Let's Play people, and he does a lot of horror game stuff. And he liked Iron Lung so much, he's like, no, I want to do this. And the guy has made just a crazy amount. Not only did he write it, finance it, direct it, star in it, he also edited it and had to handle his own production, or not production, distribution. Um, and so it is a wild thing that an indie movie like that, which is only going to be in theaters for like the week,
I think it
did
might
so
get.
well.
I think it might get a little more of a run.
He's I think it's that he's only set it up for like a week or like 2 weekends of distribution or something because he had to do
Oh
all of that
really?
himself. Yeah, he had to do he and his wife had to figure out and do all of that stuff themselves. So they're getting about 50% off of the ticket prices.
It's actually, we're kind of in a. I mean, I don't think it's ever gone away, but like the last, I'd say 5 years have been kind of like a little mini renaissance of like horror, especially
Mhm.
like with how well it's like been drawing at the box office.
Yeah.
Because even like
I got. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, even the Terrifier started as like a small budget thing, and I think that last movie made a crap load of money.
Yeah. Yeah, it did.
It's too violent for my taste, but I respect that like that guy has done the work and like made him such a like iconic character.
Yeah.
Wait,
It's
what show? Wait, sorry, what?
Terrifier.
Oh, Terrifier, yeah. There were, uh, I'm not fully aware, but there was like a whole controversy because allegedly there's a controversy there because some of the people behind the scenes are kind of alleging that the creator, director, whatever of it, not that he stole the idea, it's not quite that, but it's like there are people who like worked to help build the success of the franchise because it started off like no one really knew about it, and then he got people who really like aggressively like produced it. He got like it started off as a short film. That's
It
not
was
really
it was
like
part
the
of
character,
it was part of he was a
like an
like the
anthology.
yeah, he was like there was like an anthology, and like he was in like this tape they were watching.
Yeah,
No, he was in a tape, but
he
then
wasn't
like
at
the third
he wasn't in
segment.
the VHS series. Yeah, he was
No,
in it.
it
He was
was
in like an anthology, but
it was like All Hallows Eve or something, I think was the anthology first appeared,
yeah,
and then he was in like the last segment, and this girl was like traveling or something, and he killed her or whatever. But yeah, that's where he first showed up. He might have showed up in like a student film or something before that, but
yeah.
I
And then I
think
think they were able to make a feature film of it, but it was still very like indie, very
yeah,
low budget. And then what the controversy was is that like he got people who were in like the movie industry to really like come on and promote it and hype it up so that the next like people took a chance and then Terrifier 2 was made, and that's where it really blew up.
it
And now
did
they're
like
doing a
yeah,
fourth film.
it did better, and then the third film is kind of like where like it's done exponentially better. Like the first one was successful, the second one was very successful, and then the third one was like I think they made like 40 million off of like $1 million budget or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So the controversy is that the people that he brought on who really hyped it up and everything and helped like actually get it made so that it it blew up. Like he basically like just cut ties like I don't need you losers anymore. And so it was like,
And
look, we gave you your break and you're like screwing us over.
it's also
Which maybe it's true, I don't know.
it's also fairly unique as a franchise because I guess because I was reading an article, and I guess a huge part of the demographic that comes out for that is Hispanic.
Interesting.
Well, he's Hispanic, I believe. But
The director?
yeah,
I don't know.
but they have,
I'm not saying you're wrong.
but it had that's like it's grown a big audience there. So it's interesting. I think the next one will do better. It's kind of one of those movies that you can kind of do in perpetuity. And I mean, he's been in all sorts of stuff. Like he got a Funko Pop. They did
No, there's T-shirts. I think you get like Hot Topic. Like the character has become somewhat iconic.
well, they did collabs with like big brands too, I think, like a fast food one or something.
Mhm.
I don't know about that one.
But but he showed up in a lot of. I'm surprised he doesn't have a Dead by Daylight DLC yet.
Oh, I'm surprised by that too.
He might, and it's in the it's in the oven still.
Yeah.
That's possible. Their stuff, they're usually working on it for like a year before they'll put it out there. So
Okay, so what we're gonna do?
yes,
oh,
no,
sorry.
it's very cool that an indie movie became hit number one, and then I don't know. I guess Disney got mad enough to have it taken off there because it was not a big distribution or something.
But it's funny, like the first Evil Dead, I think made like $1 million off of like, I think $500 in a pack of gum.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
So what we're gonna do, the outline of this is gonna be, we're gonna talk about the match of the week, which is Mistico versus Averno from 130 2005. Then we're gonna talk about Tommaso Ciampa signing with AEW. I don't think we'll have a lot to say about that. Then we're gonna talk about the Rumble. So that's kind of what we're gonna do. So we're gonna go back in time here. So this is kind of the start, and I picked this one because of CMLL is off to an insane start this year. I think Meltzer says they've already had like 15 sellouts this year. And they last year was insane, and he says they're already on pace to beat last year, which is crazy. But so this is kind of 2005 is kind of the start of when they were hot last time. And if you don't know, in like that 2005 to 2007 era, CMLL was the hottest company in the world, and Mistico at that time was also the biggest draw in the world. So this is kind of, I would say this is kind of him climbing up the card, and I would say of his, like, in this era, his biggest opponents were probably Averno, Mephisto, and Perro Aguayo Jr. And I would say Averno was his top, like, opponent. And they still have, like, their rivalry still flares up every now and then. Averno's kind of gotten old in the years since and lost his mask, which is a shame because I like his mask. He has a cool mask.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not in Arena Mexico. There used to be when they were on TV, you had like the Galavision one from Arena Mexico, and then Fox Deportes had a CMLL show that was from a different arena. So it's from that show. So this is I don't know if I think they had like the welterweight or middleweight title they were feuding over. I don't know if it was on the line. It's hard to tell because of how the TV editing is, but this is your typical one-on-one match. So we start off, Averno takes the first fall pretty quickly, and then so immediately you're in the Technico is on the ropes, and any mistake is going to cost him the match, which I think is, for this kind of match, I think it helps with the tension and stuff. There's a bit of a weird cut here, and they go to the second fall, and then we don't see what happens for the fall. I'm guessing maybe Averno got DQ'd, but they cut that part out, and I don't know what happened there.
I couldn't really tell.
So Mistico obviously won that one for them to go to the third fall. Then we go to the third fall, and it's a pretty good back and forth, I think, for this part of the match. Averno gets him in some like compromising spots. There's like a really good submission hold where he's like screwing with the mask. There's some nice near falls, and then Averno gets like the arm bar and picks up the win. I was wondering if that was I was wondering if that's Alberto Del Rio was in his corner, but I couldn't.
That was
I didn't give it a look.
Yeah,
Dos Caras Jr. I actually think it could have been.
I was thinking that too.
I unfortunately don't know the mask well enough, and not that you really like got a great look at him in a mask, but he looked like he had the same physique,
and he was doing the towel thing that he always did. But I don't. I've seen Dos Caras Jr. wrestled numerous times, but I don't remember the mask, unfortunately, because it's been a long time. I think it might have been though. What were you gonna say, Shad?
Nothing. Go on.
Oh. So I thought this.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I thought this
Del Rio didn't register for me enough to be able to have much for him, so I'm at a complete loss.
He was a Technico in this era, so it would have matched up for him to be in his corner.
Okay.
But like I said, I don't remember the mask. I thought this was a really fun match, though. I think this is like when Lucha's like at its best. They both played their roles really well. I thought Averno worked really well as a base for Mistico to do his stuff with.
Mm-hmm. It did really work well. They're fun, but both fun to watch because they can move really, really fast in this. I know that there was a lot of some of the things you could see. Like there's just a lot of, and Chad can kind of speak to this, I guess, because he used to wrestle, so he was in the ring with people. But there's a lot of trust that dudes put. I guess, and generally you put a lot of trust in your opponent with your body. But they especially, because like there's some of the stuff they're doing, and I mean it's very good. Mystico is like one of the best luchadors of all time. So he can do things that maybe other guys can't. But just in general, like luchadors will do a lot of fast-paced moves and high flying and flips and things like that. But there's a couple of spots in this that weren't like, oh my god, like crazy spots. But it's just like, again, watching a lot of wrestling we have, you appreciate things like little details. And some of the things I'm like, Mystico do something, or an Averno would just like throw him up in the air or whatever. And I'm like, that's a lot of faith that you're putting in your opponent to
Yeah.
throw you the right way, throw you in the right direction with the right amount of force. Like, and obviously these two guys knew each other very well. They could be friends in real life for all I know, but they certainly like have a good like partnership in terms of how they worked their matches together, the structure. Like they just were great opponents with each other, so there had to have been a certain level of like respect. Because I'm sure you, Chad, like I'm sure there's guys like maybe they weren't your best bud, but if you worked well with them, that you probably, it's like, oh man, not an easy night off, but it's like we just jive, like it's gonna work. And so you maybe had that extra layer of trust in them because you respect them. You know, like this guy's gonna take care of me, I'm gonna take care of him. We're gonna do things, and it's gonna work out really smoothly. And here, it's like
Oh yeah.
that's they go so fast, they work so smoothly together. Some of the spots that they're doing, again, it's like wow, like
Yeah.
and it's not crazy. It's not like I'm gonna dive 20 feet off a ladder or something. No, but it's I'm gonna take a big jump outside and you're gonna
Yeah.
catch me, or I'm
Yeah.
gonna do a dive and you're gonna put your feet up. You're gonna put your feet up right at the right moment, and I'm gonna land right in the right spot. It's just a lot of like timing and faith that they put in each other, but they're so talented that they can make it
Yeah.
work. And it's just this was a fun match. Brad, did you offline tell us like this was a 5-star match? Like Dave Meltzer gave it
And
5,
no,
or
I
I don't know.
looked, and he did not give this one 5 stars. I did get an idea for what we're gonna do next week though, if I can get video of it. And it's one Matt's talked
I
about before, which is the Fuchi Kawada versus Nagata Izuki match. If I can get that from 2001, the tag.
that to me is a 5-star match, but you also you need context to it uh to really get it as to why, because there's a lot of like
All Japan versus New
stuff building
Japan.
up to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like almost like if people are old enough to remember at this point, but if you remember like when WCW folded, the invasion didn't work out well. But what if like it had, and what if like you had a WCW invasion, but they're like, no, we hate all y'all, we fucking hate all of you. Like our company's going out of business, so we're gonna just come in here and trash the place and just go crazy. Unfortunately, that it people like you didn't have really a lot of people to come into New Japan and do that. Kawada was really, and you had Fuchi come in, and
He's just
he was
old
old
as
at that point.
He's like 50 something.
He's
Yeah.
old as yeah, he's old as fuck and had been doing comedy matches.
Yeah.
But he comes in there, and in that match, he is fucking king size. He's just stepping on dudes' faces, like brutalizing people. I can't
It's the real
it's
world tag league too, I believe. So it's like it's like a
yeah, but it's awesome because it's like, what if you had a match, and I don't know what the equivalent would be. It would almost be I don't- who's like a comedy worker at, let's say, AEW. And now don't say like Orange Cassidy, because Orange Cassidy's a great worker. Like
Yeah. They don't have a lot of pure comedy guys. Like, Danhausen was, but we saw how that worked out. So
it's almost like this isn't correct. He's not an AEW guy, but let's say a guy that is an ace of the let's say he never went back to the WWE, whatever. He stayed he because he briefly had a cup of coffee in AEW, but let's say like Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona, like stayed with AEW, and it's like, he's not a bad worker, but he's kind of goofy. No one's gonna be like, oh, Matt Cardona, like put the title on him, and he's at this point been around long forever, you know. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, it's like he's doing an invasion angle where it's 10 tag teaming.
Yeah. You know
He
what's
and
funny
Kenny
about?
Omega are tag teaming against and it's like this is a weird pairing, and Cardona's a clown, but it's like, but then you get in the match, and Cardona's the one. He's like fucking like fish hooking guys and just stomping the shit out of them, and you're like, what am I watching? What the
Yeah.
hell am I watching?
You know, Zack Ryder's an
Yeah.
interesting case study as a worker, though, because by all intents and purposes, how his career in WWE started out should not have had like led to this longevity as a worker. Because if you remember, he was an Edgekin, like he was
Yeah.
one of the, and why it worked out for him, and why in W, it's actually he's a great example of why the WWE ECW was a good idea, because they put him on this hour-long show where he had all this time to work on this character and develop himself and get TV time. And it's not like now where like you don't get any time to like work on yourself, but it's it's an
Mhm.
interesting case study of like why mid-carders should get TV time, or he should have a show that lets them develop a little bit. So, yeah. I wouldn't say it's a 5-star match. I think
Yeah.
there's a couple things that hurt this for me. I'd say it's about 4.5. I think the biggest thing that hurts this for me, and it honestly killed it in a way, is the TV production cut out the crowd noise for the announcers, which I think really hurt
I
this.
noticed that.
And you can tell the crowd's really loud, but it's not coming through, and I think that hurt it a lot.
Yeah, it's so muted that it takes away a lot of the atmosphere and removes a lot of that good feel that it should have. And that's really frustrating because
that's the strength of Lucha shows,
so
is the
much
crowd.
Yeah, well, so much of a good match is how much you hook the crowd and bring them into it and make them part of what you're doing. So it's like taking that out's really kneecapping it a lot in its presentation.
It's because you take an element out.
And
It's like you
yeah,
can. It's kind of like what I saw someone say once, when like this is a message board way back in the day, and they were a musician that was into wrestling. It's like, look, and it was talking about when Ring of Honor was successful, but their production values were shit, and they pretty much just said like, look, I can play the best I've ever played and play awesome, but if like my producer on an album sucks, like I'm gonna sound like shit, no matter how
yeah,
well I play. And it's kind of like that
yeah,
because it's kind of it's a weird bizarro version of like when you watch a WWE show and like you hear all this crowd noise and the crowd's not moving, and it's like, oh, you guys
yeah.
fix that in post. It's like you can tell the crowd is hot, but you can't hear them.
During the Thunderdome era, it was really bad because what they were piping in didn't actually sound like anything. It was just kind of like static, and that was really, really off-putting. Um, the other thing in this match, I'm watching this, and Matt's correct. They're doing all this cool stuff. They're doing it together. They've got a lot of trust in each other to be able to do it. But one of the things, one of these feeds into the next. One of the things is that you get an idea for just how godforsaken hard that mat is. And the thing that got me to look at it to start with was how the ref goes down to make the count. Because the ref doesn't slide, the ref doesn't drop to the mat. He like gets down almost gingerly to make the counts. And then whenever you see his hand hit the mat, I'm like, oh God, that's stiff. And then after I noticed that, we're doing the third fall, and I'm seeing how many flat back bumps Mystico was taking in this, and I'm just like, oh, oh,
I think it was a
oh.
boxing ring. If I have to be honest, I think that was a boxing ring.
So yeah, that part of the the thing that stuck out to me about the lucha tradition is they started doing it with boxing rings, and they were all just crazy hard, which is why they did so many rolling bumps. I had
Mhm.
one show I did where because everywhere that I worked, the mat was 2x4s, and then you had a padding layer, not a thick one really, but it had a padding layer, and then the mat went over it. And one of the shows that I worked, they got caught in a cloud burst on the way there, so all the padding they had to go on the 2x4s was too soaked to use, or it would have ruined everything. It would have ruined the mat, it would have ruined the wood. And so we set the ring up, and it was just the canvas over the 2x4s. And we're like, "Are we going to do this?" And I went, let's see. And I just took one flat back bump, and I hit, and I hit, and I'm laying there, and the guys go, "How is it?" And I went, "We're going to be doing a lot of headlocks tonight."
I would have been running to the store to get those like egg crate mattress like covers.
Not a big enough town to have it.
Oh damn!
Yeah, wasn't happening. Like if you go and get a set of the EVA like puzzle piece interlocking foam, that'll do you fine. It's not soft, but it's enough that whenever you hit the
Not
mat, it's
right
not.
on wood.
Yeah, it's not knocking your teeth loose. But like I said, I took one bump on that mat, and I was like, "Oh God,
What
oh."
I noticed, that's been my theory with WWE though, because I notice in other promotions, WWE like insists on you back bump a lot, which is just stupid. But um, a lot of promotions like guys will cheat and they'll bump off their hip, they'll pratfall, and they'll
Yeah,
reduce the back bumps they take quite a bit.
it's if you give. I'm of the opinion that if you give the guys who are out there the freedom, you say, "This is what I want, the end game that we need out of this match." That's fine. You give them the end game, and then you let them do it. Let them work whatever style works for them, because maybe they go out there and everybody has been trying to have a barn burner, high speed, technical, you know, 5-star baiting kind of match. And the guys go out there and like, "Nah, we're not doing that." And they just have a match where they just brawl and just beat the fire out of each other all around the ring and that sort of stuff. And then the agents are like, "That's not what we talked about." It's like, "No, but it worked."
You want that
You
though
know, it,
after a couple hours
yeah.
of watching wrestling though.
I'm saying if you're going to trust these people enough to put them on your show, give them enough trust to determine how they're going to do what they do, and leave it alone. The thing that killed me about the main event style WWE had back in the aughts was that it made everything look the same, and it made wrestling boring to watch. Everybody's got to
And
work the main event style. Everyone had to have a spine buster.
and what was
Everyone, and it was just like, oh,
and what was dumb about that is they developed that style because Austin was like, I don't think it's said enough how badly injured and on the clock Austin was, like physically, and that main event style was specifically designed to preserve his health. Because I
yeah.
mean, because look at Austin before the neck injury and Austin after the neck injury, and he changed a lot as a worker because he had to. So they did a lot of that garbage brawling because hey, if he's and we saw it in that Hogan and Sting match in TNA. When you can't bump, what do?
You got to work something else out,
Yeah,
and it yeah the other thing though about that is, say that was for Austin. Austin didn't throw spine busters until it was mandated that everybody have
yeah.
that in their arsenal, and his looked like crap, by the way. I mean, don't get me wrong, Steve Austin's an all-time great. Steve Austin's a great because he understands more about being a big time star And I got that appreciation from watching him do commentary of him versus him and The Rock, one of the WrestleMania matches. And as he's talking through it, he's talking through the thought process, and it's like, okay, we go here now. Whenever I grab him, I turn to my left because that shows us both to the camera, so they can both see us. And it's full of stuff like that. But dear God, he didn't need to be doing this. Why is Steve Austin doing a spine buster? Because everybody's doing a spine buster. Because this is the main event style everybody has to work.
And I hate that because not everyone's.
For me, a wrestling show needs variety. And when everyone works the same style, I am bored to tears.
Well, and my thing with that too is, I think they've shortened a lot of careers by like limiting the move sets of people, because it's like, okay, well, I'm going to work 5 nights a week. Like, oh, I'm getting dropped to my back. Like, oh, I'm getting dropped to my back. Like, oh, I'm getting dropped on my back. Like, versus like back in the day where it was like one night, like, oh, I'm getting dropped to my back. Like, oh, okay, we're doing a pile driver tonight. Okay, like, I'm not falling on my back for that. Or, hey, you do submission stuff. Like, okay, I can roll around a bit. Or, hey, okay, then I'm falling on my back. So, like, instead of like just, oh, I'm just falling on my back over and over again, it's like, oh, I can do all this different stuff that doesn't require me to destroy my back every night.
Yeah. And what happens in so many cases is that, at least we used to hear this, guys that have sciatica because their backs would be killing them all the time. And I had this image in my head because there was this, and I can't tell you where it came from, but the first image, oh, they're just sitting at home. And for some reason in my head, it was Steve Blackman. And he's just sitting in a chair like this. Oh, he's just sitting at home. It's like, well, he's got sciatica because Blackman did. And it's like, he's not just sitting in the chair, but he's sitting in the chair like this a lot because his back's in so much pain that he's like trying to take pressure off of it. And he's doing that all the time.
If I know Shad knows, but look up a picture of him from the 80s if you want to like just be blown away, because he used to. So if you don't know about Steve Blackman, he used to be like just massive, like bodybuilder big, and then he went to like South Africa or something, and he got malaria and was bedridden for like a year, and had to like completely rebuild his body. Like I think he was out for like years. Like he had it for years.
Yeah, he was down, like unable to train for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
So he came back and I can't remember if martial arts was the thing that he used to come back from, or he already did some and pivoted into doing it heavier. But yeah, he was huge.
Yeah, like so was Flair. Actually, if you look at like really young Flair, he was super bulky until he had the back injury and like reshaped his body and everything.
Like fat.
Yeah.
Big.
Yeah. What was it like? Ramblin' Rick Rockus or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. It's so weird. But if you didn't see the face, you wouldn't know there was a difference.
But yeah, I thought this was fun. It reminded me in a good way, not as good, but of the Mysterio Psychosis matches. Like they have that kind of chemistry. Averno is very much a good base for Mistico to work off of. I think I had mentioned I think like more American workers should watch stuff like this and watch Lucha Libre, because I think healing in the United States would be better if they saw how Rudos do it. Because when you watch Rudos aren't super flashy. They don't show up the face unless it's like part of like the structure of the match. But like, everything they do is pretty much for the Technico to do cool stuff off of and like come back from. Like everything they do has like a purpose.
Yeah, 100%.
Because Rudos bully a lot. That's kind of...
Yeah. It's refreshing to watch, to watch some matches that are structured that way. So,
I think anyway, because even last week, I think Mayu wasn't working full heel, but she was incorporating ways to make you want to root for Suzume by like showing frustration, like having bad body language, showing, kind of rolling her eyes and stuff when she would get like just a 2 count and stuff.
Yeah.
And that to me separates where it's like people who are in wrestling, like workers who actually get it. Like that's when like things are starting to click, and that's when they start to elevate. In my opinion, they start to elevate themselves as workers, because those are things that are almost like more intangible, where you're not just doing like a move, and it's like you're actually like telling the story of the match. Because if you're trying to put your opponent away, and then they do a kick out at 2, like barely do it, and the story of the match is like almost like it's, well, for example, it's like a war of attrition, trying to put your opponent away, especially if you're the champion, trying to put your opponent away, and then like they still keep fighting off, and you just get increasingly more frustrated. It's like that's you're telling a story, like, and people, unfortunately, I think nowadays just think like, oh, backstage segments and promos and skits and everything like that is storytelling, and it's like, or I could stop in the middle of the match to run my interest, or do other stupid things like a monologue. It's like, no, it's actually telling a story in the match, and sometimes it's a facial, sometimes it's like a look.
It can just be like 1, 2, kick out, and you're just like, like, really?
Oh, I remember. I still. Yeah. I'm sorry to cut you off. I remember to this day, like watching matches like in the 80s and the 90s, like a heel, like they get a face down, like 1, 2, and the guy would kick out. And sometimes you get the heel, and the ref would be like, "That was great. That was great." Like they'd like jaw jack with the ref for like a second.
Yeah.
And it just sells the story of like, this is an arrogant heel who like, like I got it, like, and then they're frustrated because it's like, like that should have been 3, like. I remember that, like, to this day, I remember people doing that, and like it adds to, it's like, that's healing, whatever. What were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
It's healing doesn't have to be over the top. It's just got to be stuff that make people hate you. You go for, like you said, you go for that 3 count, and the guy kicks out, and instead of, you get mad at the ref, but as you get up from it, you like rub your hand or your forearm across the guy's face as you sit up. What is that? That's not much, but it's a great way of conveying to the audience that you're a tremendous dick, right? You took this little opportunity just to be a dick about it.
It was unnecessary that you did that, but you did it just because you're pissed off. Or you're just a jerk.
Or another good one is, you just get up and you just step on them, like, for no reason.
One of my favorite little bits of healing that I ever saw, and I admit it's just a little thing, but one of them that I loved, and I'm going to go back to it, the guy kicks out, and this dude's going to argue with the ref, but when the heel goes to argue with the ref, he drapes his knee across the other dude's neck while he's arguing with the ref and like doing this stuff. So the dude's laying on the mat like kicking and thrashing and that sort of stuff, and tried to get the guy's like knee or his shin off of his neck. And the ref's yelling at him, and he's like, "No, we're talking about the fact that you can't count to 3." And it's, look, that's not a huge thing. You don't do that every time. But it's just such a good way of showing what a complete and utter jerk you are.
Or even like being a prick in like a submission hole and just keep telling the ref, like, ask him.
Yeah.
Ask him. Jericho needs to be good at that. Ask him.
That's more of a Japan that's more of a Japan thing, because Liger does that a lot.
Can I digress a little bit? Just a favorite heel spot in tag team wrestling, when you have the guy like putting on like an octopus hold, or the abdominal stretch, and like he's like he reaches out, and his tag partner like grabs his hand, like pulls back to add torque to the abdominal stretch.
No,
and the
there's
rest like looking down to like are you you give up, and then he looks up, and they like drop hands, but because the tag partner's been through the ropes are shaking. Like I've seen that. I think Money Inc. used to do that, and best is when like they do that and the ropes are shaking, so the ref goes, it's like, what's this? What's going on here? And I love like the appeal will be like, I just have my foot on the ropes. It's like, that's why it's bouncing up. Like,
there's
like they don't totally nonchalant it.
I've seen it more than once, but there was a Chikara show where the Colony was doing that, and they had the fans come up, and they had the fans like form a chain while they were in the abdominal stretch to cheat.
Oh, I think I've seen that. I don't know if I've seen the match, but I think I've seen the spot.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
like I think there's a lot of great heel tag things though that are lost arts, like
Mhm.
blind tags, like your partner comes near you and you clap your
Love
hands
blind
together.
You go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or
It
that
costs nothing.
yeah, or you
And it,
you smack them on the shoulder to come in, or even the better one, you just don't tag. And even if you don't have to, you just don't tag because fuck you, like we don't have to.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember that as a new little mark watching. What was it? It was Luger and the Giant versus Scott Hall and Randy Savage, and Hall and Savage would never tag. They just stepped through the ropes, and I remember as a fresh little mark just being so upset about it. Oh, it's
I
it's
just
really not.
I just hate when they don't make the ref work for it.
It's not. I'm going to say this, and this is going to sound whatever, but it's not that hard to be an effective heel. You just have to accept that you're going to do stuff that nobody likes. You can't have anything redeeming in what you do. And so, you know, you take the cheap shots and you choke the guy and you stick your finger in his eye and all that sort of stuff, not because you need to, but just because either you want to or it's just plain easier. But how many people are, really want to do that? It feels like that's not. It feels like that a heel's heel is, um, just feels like it's really more rare than it should be.
It seems like that's
And
the fun stuff though that they don't do anymore.
it could be that it's too easy, but I mean, heck, so
But that's
do
like
it.
the small detail work that I think really hurts modern wrestling, like across the board. There's a lot of little detail work that they aren't good with anymore. Um,
Well, like if you have some guy who works his way up and gets signed by a big company because he did cool stuff, and people came to see him because he did cool stuff, and then you make him into a heel, that's not going to be his default setting. It's not what he's naturally going to drop back to. And is he wrong? I don't think he's wrong, but I think it's um, unfortunate that sort of stuff, if that's not typically in his wheelhouse, because the guys that do that sort of thing all the time are going to get good reactions, but how well are they going to get scouted?
yeah, I'll tell
I don't
you,
know.
my favorite spot from last year was actually Adam Priest when we watched the Action Dean 2, and Mad Dog Conley's trying to pull him back into the ring, and he's literally like clutching onto a fan for dear life, like
Yeah,
to keep
Yeah.
him.
yeah.
I'm so glad he's getting, because he just had a big match too. Like I'm so glad he's getting because I still love that
Yeah.
promo. Like this here is a bitch dog.
This there's my
Yeah.
bitch dog. It's like, what?
It was such
The
a good
guy,
promo.
yeah.
It was such a good
The
promo.
thing that I love about Adam Priest is anytime he has been on TV. And off the top of my head, I remember 2 FTR matches and a match with Okada. And so maybe we're grading on a curve, but the guy went out there and worked hard anytime he had an opportunity.
Yeah,
He
listen,
went out there and
unlike
put in the work to make the most of it.
unlike
He's
a
been doing
certain
stuff on with Ring of Honor. He's mostly with Ring of Honor, and
Yeah.
Okay.
he's the tag team with Billington.
yeah, they've done some
Okay.
indie stuff together too. But
Yeah.
Tegan Knox and that other lady should take notice of that. I do love the fuck you that Maya World and Hyan got signed.
Hmm.
Not just that, but wasn't there a thing? It's that they were building them up for something, and I can't remember if it was like a social media thing or if they said it on TV. But it was like, you know, hard work pays off, and you take the opportunities you get. I was just like, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad for anybody in that one.
Yeah. So this match was this Averno versus Mistico match is on YouTube. Some of the rematches are on YouTube. Honestly, if you watch whatever they have of them, both are great workers. I also he wasn't out there, but Averno's tag team with Mephisto is a really fun.
Mephisto.
Yeah.
Los Satanicos?
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that? Los Infernales.
Yeah.
It was because I think the trios was with Satanico. Because I remember watching them around this time with Satanico, and I remember like Mephisto and Averno were awesome, and I'm like, who the fuck is this old dude? It's like Satanico was like old back then, and remember,
Oh, no, he
like
was
we looked
old.
him up.
We
in the
watched
last like 2 years, like he's still alive. He's still actually, as of not that long ago, worked a match. Like he's still kicking.
I just saw him in something from like the 90s and like, holy shit, he's still old as fuck.
Oh, he's old. He's got to be in his 70s. We
Oh,
looked it up
yeah,
like last
definitely.
time we talked about him.
He's got to be.
Yeah.
I would say 70s, but I
Yeah.
don't think like 60s. Like he's been around. He's pretty long in the tooth. But
yeah. So
Chad, about this match. I don't know if you heard. Very softly, you could hear Mistico go, "Mr. Averno, can't take a flat back bump on foot. Ring's too hard. I can't do it.
Feeling me
take a flat back
pants.
bump."
that ring looked
my
awful
God.
because it did not move when they bumped.
No, it was really bad.
I think he was
So-
taking bumps on the cement just to feel something soft.
He might have been.
Yeah. So we
God,
did have
that's terrifying.
we had sort of an eventful week. Tommaso Ciampa signed with AEW. I know people are excited. I don't care. His match was pretty good on Collision, I heard. I don't care.
Oh,
I was
the
never
match was really good.
I was never
That's
a
the thing.
fan, even when he was like big in NXT for like a minute. He's just, it's another old guy, so I'm just kind of like, whatever. Like if people enjoy him, that's fine, but he's not like my cup of tea. His music's cool though.
He's a good worker. I liked him when he was doing the NXT Black and Gold stuff. I am a little more sympathetic to the feud he had with Gargano than you are, Brad. I know you've made criticisms on this show about, because this show started like around like early enough, years ago at this point.
We were
this show
we
started
were
up when
around for match
that was
2 and
actually
3.
going on.
Match 2 and 3 we were.
Yeah, we reviewed it, I think, on the show. Like talked about it. And I'm not saying like no, you're wrong. Like these are perfect matches. No, they had flaws. I still think they're good. I should probably rewatch them to see.
It's the finishes
But
that's the problem, because
I like him.
That one had a banana peel ending that even the Wile E. Coyote wouldn't have fallen for. So
so bad.
I like him, but like he's another one of these people that it's like he was in NXT too long. They finally brought him up, and then they just
using
they
DIY
geeked
forever.
him out. And yeah, he's been doing the tag team with Gargano, and it's just like for forever.
Yeah.
And they were just there, and almost like jobbers to the stars, like glorified jobbers.
So,
but he's a good worker.
Made of graham crackers though, delicious graham crackers. But
I don't know that I would really do much with him, but it's another guy that you can add depth to the mid card. So to me, it's like it's fine.
So one of the things, because after he showed up, I'm like, okay, all right, let's see what's up. Apparently, he had wanted, if what I hear is correct, he had wanted to, like, he looked over there and he was like, man, I want to be a part of that. Like, I'm sick of, I'm tired of doing what we're doing here. I want to be a part of what that is, and I want to go do that. And so he finishes up his contract, and he's like, I'm gonna go. And they're like, are you sure you want to go? Yeah, I'm gonna go. What are you gonna do? I'm just gonna go. He wanted to go do stuff with people in AEW, so that I guess he wanted to go wrestle the way that
Well,
he
those are a
felt like
lot
he
of the
couldn't
guys
wanted
he.
to.
Those are a lot of the guys he worked with, like coming up and like pre WWE and in WWE. So
Yeah.
like all of his buddies are over there.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so what happens is he shows up, he has his face off with Mark Briscoe, and then he and Mark Briscoe have a really good match together on Collision. And the match was so good that I'm sitting here watching it, and I was like, "Oh, that was really, really good." And then I turned the TV off and went to leave because I was like, "Well, that was the main. That's how good that was." And my wife's like, "Don't you? Isn't there more of the show?" And I was like, "Oh, it's like 9:20." And I went back and turned it back on. Like it felt like a main event thing, and
Mm.
it's one of those like, yeah, my feelings towards the guy are not the warmest in the world, and I'll admit that. And it's not that I think he did anything wrong. It's, he was stuck in that one feud for entirely too long, doing the same godforsaken thing all the time, and it was tiring and it was frustrating, and the ending on the second or third match they had with Gargano was stupid.
The one where he did like he
And I
went to
just
do the thing and he fell over the equipment and just died.
like, yeah, Gargano went
Mm.
to do that knee strike after he had it won because he was like, no, I really hate him, I'm really mad, and he hit him with it and then tumbled over the thing, and so Ciampa just like
Well, he was
crawled
hit. It
over
was
there and
it
pinned him.
was well, no, it wasn't a pin because it was
Was it
whatever
like
they
an
call.
Iron Man thing
No, it
or
was
something, or
whatever when you can't meet the count because
oh, last man standing. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Ciampa was handcuffed, and so Gargano banana peeled into oblivion, and then Ciampa just like slid so he was standing while handcuffed, and that's how he won. Like
Yes,
it's as bad as it sounds, but
you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. I
and
remembered
I mean
incorrectly.
I thought the Acme rocket that Gargano was riding was kind of a little too on the nose, but who am I to judge?
Yeah, it was just really, really frustrating. And like I said, it's not that he did anything wrong or I don't like him. It's just after all of that, I was like, I'm good. I
What's
don't need any
it's
more.
it's hard to stay invested in someone, like especially with the DIY thing. Like it's hard to stay invested with someone when they're just static for years and years and years and
Yeah,
years.
and they seem to be going out of their way to tell you not to care about them.
Yeah.
So he shows up, he does it, and you know what? I now after watching that, I'm willing to see where it goes. Let's see what happens. Show me what you got. I'm curious, and I'm
He again. It's not that I haven't liked him, but outs when like the Gargano feud ended in NXT, it's like I didn't really have anything to really care about him. So, but I looked it up. He's turning 41 this year. He's 40. Uh, he's listed as like 5'11", like barely over 200 pounds. So
Yeah, he's a very
he's not.
I've seen him live before and he's very he looks big on TV, but when you see him in person, like he's very slim. I don't know. I'm trying to.
He's in much better shape than I ever have been or will be.
I don't.
But
I'm
yeah.
trying to. There's a word I'm trying. There's a word that is like I'm like when you say someone's athletically slim, but I can't think of the
lithe.
lithe. Maybe yeah. It's not like if you he's
got
different. Like when you see, have you guys seen Finn Balor in person?
I probably seen him on a show.
Okay,
but
so
not up close.
So like it's different than Finn Balor. So when you like see Finn Balor in person, like on TV you might not think he's big, and then you like see him in person and like his like quads and shit are like gigantic. And you're like, oh, you're a big dude. Or like, no, Claudio is also a great example. Like Claudio doesn't look big. And then you see him in person and like I texted someone like the first time I saw him in person, I'm like, this guy's muscles has muscles.
No, Claudio. Well, I different, I guess, because I think Claudio looks big.
No, he looks even bigger in
Gotta be
person.
tall, right? It's like 6'4", 6'5". He looks like he would be a big dude. If I saw him on the street, I'd be like, "It's a big dude."
Yeah.
But
I'm talking about like you don't
I love
appreciate
Steen's characterization. Steen called him a human horse. And that makes sense because it's not like a bunch of rippling muscles. It's all functional.
I mean, when you see
he's
him in
built up,
person,
he's big, but it's not puffy.
like no, he's not. But when you see him in person, like I said, it's not a joke when I said like his muscles have muscles. It's like, oh, you're jacked.
That to me is like that's where it starts edging into like that's getting into like a genetics thing because you get.
I mean, they
genetics
call him
are
the
weird.
Swiss
Like, you'll have
Superman for a
people who-
reason.
Yeah. Genetics are weird because like he's obviously in great shape, but it's like he also like he probably have just like probably incredibly dense musculature, so that you're in fantastic shape and you clearly like you work out, but you're probably like, are you part chimpanzee? Because chimpanzees are much stronger than the average human being because they have much denser muscle fibers. So even though like stature wise they're smaller than human beings, they're stronger than human beings.
Yeah.
Which is why a chimpanzee can like rip you apart with its bare hands, like literally. Claudia looks like it's like, are you part chimpanzee? That you have like incredibly dense muscle fibers, that your muscles have muscles. And occasionally you get into genetics are weird because sometimes you'll get you get like some sort of Iowa farm boy
like Brock Lesnar,
who looks like or well, not he looks built, but I mean you get someone like they look like fucking Harley Race, just big barrel chested, like look like a big fat dumpy dude, and then they can be like, oh, I need to put this like tree stump in the back of my pickup truck, and they'll like just lift up a tree stump that weighs probably like 400 pounds and just like raw dog it up and put it in their like nobody's business.
I mean,
so genetics are weird, but
Lesnar is a good example of genetics though, because people forget or they weren't alive. Like he almost, like with minimal experience, he almost made an NFL roster. Like almost, he missed it by like a player.
He, I think, was just a wrestler in high school or college. I don't think he played football.
He maybe played some in high school, but it was very minimal experience if he did.
Yeah, and he is not a good person, but I mean, in terms of athletic ability, he's on like one of those. There is a small percentage of the population that are just freaks of nature, and he's within that category.
His daughter is like, she's got shot putting records, I think.
Yeah.
His daughter is incredible. There's I guess a video that just went viral, and she's in almost like a tank top, and then she like turns around and just like, and it's kind of scary. It's like she is incredibly muscular.
She looks like
it's like
you know whose daughter she is too. She looks like Papa.
She looks very much like him, and I
hope she's staying out of the sun though, because she's
very pasty.
Yeah,
very
like
I
was like
very, very fair skin.
I was like, I hope like it was more like I hope they told you to stay out of the sun because skin cancer is going to be in your future if you're not careful.
I'm saying that as my dad was very Nordic looking, so he's very, very fair skinned. For some reason, never burned in the sun, but he never like tanned. My dad like never tanned. Never. I don't. Those Scandinavian genes somewhere that were, percolating.
Yeah.
in that DNA. Yeah.
You can't.
Just would not allow him to.
You can't necessarily tell, but like on camera, but like I don't really burn. Like if I burn, it goes straight to a tan the next day because like I'm not like I have darker skin, so I kind of just go into a tan. I don't burn instantly.
Oh, I'll burn. Like I don't necessarily look it, but it's because I've got enough hair on my arms that it makes me look. It makes my skin look darker than it is.
No, you probably can't tell. But I'm a little.
But yeah, well, and the lights are kind of washing stuff out. But
it's one thing people do when they like a lot of women make the mistake because I see it and it's always a horror show. Like they dye their hair black. And they always look terrible. And it's like, well, for starters, my hair's not black. It's dark brown. And a lot of people like me don't have black hair. It's dark brown. And also, like, our skin complexion is slightly darker to account for that. And, like, you're super pale, so you just look washed out when you dye your hair black. So, yeah.
Like, mine is about as close to being black hair in terms of dark brown as you can get. But
mine's graying out. So It's getting perpetually lighter.
Champa jumping was one of those things that when it happened, I was like, "What?" But after hearing about it and then seeing the match, I'm like, "Okay, I'm willing to see where this goes now."
He doesn't seem particularly fed brained either.
No, he's a good worker, and he's like I said, he's turning 41. There's also rumors that it's like, oh, he wants to do stuff with New Japan, which
He'd
obviously
be
the connection that
well. They need
AEW has with
New Japan
the
needs
working
whatever
relationship. They do need like they
bodies.
need people. He's smaller, so it's like he probably would be better suited for like the junior division.
They've gotten smaller
But
on top though, because I mean he'd be fine with like Zack Sabre Jr. and all those guys.
fair. Zack Sabre Jr. is actually bulked up a bit. Like I saw him once in person.
Yeah,
like,
he finally ate that
2019, and it's like,
hamburger.
yeah. When I saw him in person, like 2019, it's like, and I'm not a big dude. Like I'm under 200 pounds. I'm just like 6 feet. Like like a little, maybe like a slightly under, like a few centimeters, like a centimeter or two under. Like I'm not a big dude. I'm a medium. You know, like I'm not super bulky, super tall. And he was like my size. And I'm like, now that was before he did bulk up, and he's obviously since then won the IWGP title twice. So you know he has a little leg over me. But
bulky.
But Ciampa is getting older.
Even when I cut weight, I'm bulky. Like I have a barrel chest. Like I have very wide hips. I'm very boxy. Even when I'm way down in weight. Shad's met me. Like I'm very wide and like broad shouldered and for my height and stuff. So
yeah,
because there's been pictures I've taken.
I am.
There's been pictures I've taken with like professional athletes, and I'm like, holy shit, my shoulders are like wider than that guy's.
Yeah, I am broad shouldered and decently big. It's one of those. God, if I could just get my thyroid stuff under control, you know, it'd be really good. But you know, I'm like 2 mats.
Yeah,
I'm 150% Matt is what I think I might be.
We are all fortunately much bigger than Jonathan Gresham, who is far more built, but is roughly the same size as my wife. Like very.
Yeah, I give him credit.
I've seen him in person. He's maybe 5.5 feet at
I give him credit.
He's a tiny little man.
I give him credit that he does like his physique is very good, and he tries to work with what he's got. Physique. But like,
yeah,
he's
a good
very
worker too. But
because like the thing is, he is built, but like he's very slight. He's not like he doesn't have a big frame, so like he does have muscle, but he doesn't have like a frame to like put stuff on. Because I think when we were talking about genetics, like Sean Waltman talked once, and they said like, "Do you ever try steroids?" Like, yeah. Didn't do a damn thing for me, so I stopped.
Didn't do a thing, yeah.
Because I think there is like a truth to like, yeah, you can do all the like the weightlifting and everything you do, but you have to have the frame to put that muscle on, and like steroids aren't going to fix like frame issues.
Oh, in genetics is like a thing for me too. Like I had never done steroids, so I don't know if I could say like if I did steroids it would be different. But like I could work out my arms all day long. You know, and I've been doing like weight workout classes for like the last 2 years, and I've actually in the last like 6 months I told my wife it's like I'm like noticeably stronger. Like it's subtle, but it's like I'm actually stronger, and my upper body has been like a little bit like bigger. But my arms, like, not gonna lie, I maybe I should do like the William Regal like push my muscle. It's like I could work out my arms all day long, and maybe it would make a difference if I did steroids. But I have like lean arms, meaning like my muscle, like I can see muscle, but it always will be like I have like thinner arms, and I could be like so strong I could pick up 400 pounds like nobody's business. I can't. But if I could, they'd still be probably lean, because that's how like I was. My dad was the same way. My dad was like incredibly strong. Like I saw him like lift huge amounts of weights, lean ass arms. It's like it's a
Yeah.
weird genetic thing.
I
And people like,
That's
and there are people out there like Randy Orton. Randy Orton's like incredibly in shape guy. He's always had like the lean frame. He's not like a Brock Lesnar.
I
You know, he's not even like a Rock
I found
or John
pictures.
Cena or any of
Matt.
these other people.
I'm in the same boat as you because when I was in college, working out a lot, even doing all of that when like my biceps and forearms were bigger, I didn't look big. Like
Yeah.
they would tighten up and that sort of stuff, but they didn't. I didn't bulk up. I called it I called it more of a boxer build. You look at pro boxers and what happens is that they're very lean, but their arms aren't huge. That sort of stuff. I and
It
I don't
depends
know, man.
on.
It's
I found pictures of me when I still worked in warehouses from my late 20s. And I was like, holy fuck, because I look completely different. Like I had these big, like bulky arms, like my shoulders and like my neck muscles and my neck were just massive. And
yeah.
when I lost weight and did a lot of cardio, like I leaned my muscles out. But I think it depends heavily on like how you build your muscles too. But I was like, holy shit, like I was way bigger looking back then.
Yeah. There were some guys on my dorm floor. And hey, we're going to the gym. You want to come with us? Yeah, sure. What are you doing? Oh, it's back day. Okay, sure. And we get there and they get a dumbbell ready and they're like, okay, you're going to do this. You're going to kind of bend over like this, grab it and bring it up. And there's some of them that are doing it and they're like, okay, it's my turn. And I'm like, so what? Just like this? And they're like, and he makes it look easy. Of course he does. Like, sorry, guys. It was weird to me. That was a weird experience because I didn't think of myself as being strong. I just thought of myself as being tall. Does that make any sense?
Yeah,
We are
I don't think
way
of myself
afield.
as strong until it's moving day and I'm like hauling all this like heavy ass shit that everyone else is like, how did you move that? And I'm like, I don't know, I just picked it up. That's happened more
Yeah,
than
yeah.
once.
I thought I was strong until I was shoveling ice out of my
Oh
driveway,
God, like
and now my legs and my back and my shoulders hurt and
I
everything.
my wrists hurt so bad last week it wasn't even funny. By like Wednesday, I was just like ow, ow, ow. It was so
Yeah.
bad. Okay, but so
So
main event of the week because this was delightful for the end of the week. So Royal Rumble happened, and we talked about it a bit last week. It's not like a secret. It was actually funny. ESPN did like a promoted post on Reddit, like an
yeah,
advertisement post for the Royal Rumble, and there were like just like 200 comments, and they were all shitting on them. Like it was hilarious.
yeah,
But so
yeah.
so
They really were.
they built the stadium real quick. Um, Obviously using slave labor. We talked about it a bit last week. We're not going to go too deep into that, but so Triple H does this post about it, and then they have to do this cope about how, because the arena was half empty. There's a lot of coping
That was
online of people saying that's not true. It's the
So
way the lighting was, but no, there are pictures during the show. It was half empty.
it's half empty. It's noticeably empty and unlike. And to me, that's hilarious because people fed drones, fed fans. They always bitch about how like no one goes to AEW shows, so they're like, oh yeah, like there's no like, and they make jokes about how like when people come to WWE from AEW, whatever, it's like oh they're not used to like seeing like a arena full of people. At least just on the hard cam they have people, but not anywhere else. And it's like okay, well in the hard cam and Royal Rumble, like it's empty row after empty row after empty row of no one there. And they try to like do cope. It's like, well, the resale market went crazy. It's like,
No, it was lighting was the
really?
one I
That's
kept
that's
seeing.
seriously gonna go.
The
Like,
lighting
sure,
was
like hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of people are gonna be there, but the resale market
I
guys, it's
I
like
saw that the cope I saw repeatedly was oh, there's a meme I need to send you because Pepe is back. Because it was for something else, but it was Pepe with a oxygen mask on. It just said copium.
it's been around. That one's been around for a long time.
But
mm,
but so the cope I saw was that the lighting made you think it was empty, but it wasn't. It was just half empty. And then
No,
like
well, they shut it off, and it was bad, so they shut it off, but it was still noticeable that it's empty seats.
but what I thought was funny was so there it's on video, but Triple H has to come out and do his like, because he needs credit for everything. And the crowd, what was the crowd chanting? Was it "fuck you, Triple H" or something?
Oh, after
They're shouting AEW,
Yeah.
and also like
so
yeah, you fucked up. I think
since
was
yeah,
Yeah, you fucked up
since
with it.
Triple H is a coward, he doesn't do pressers after shows anymore, and so he you know he in because he can't even trust the hand picked uh people to ask
Well, he
questions.
stopped.
So now he
He
does
stopped
this little
after.
panel discussion after.
Yeah, because he stopped almost immediately after he got a couple of hard questions in those pressers. Like immediately, I actually think, the domino that caused that to fall as much as I shit on him was Nick Houseman actually asking him a difficult question, um, before
yeah.
he like stopped, and I don't even remember what the question was about.
And so now,
He,
go ahead, Matt.
I'm sorry, Chad. I cut you off. Go ahead.
I was going to say he's not willing to do even those with hand-picked questions now, so they do their little panel discussion after the fact, and the crowd behind him on the panel discussion chanted AEW, you fucked up. Um, there were like 4 chants they had going there, and
And
it
this is
it
people.
was bad.
This is also Saudi Arabia, so like this is non-English speaking people, and I was surprised. The you fucked up thing I didn't necessarily shock me because, as I've learned from like Japanese wrestling, like even if you don't speak English, saying fuck is really fun. So a lot of people like to do it. Also, flipping the bird, even if that doesn't mean anything or culture, people seem to enjoy that because it's fun. But like, that didn't surprise me. But the AEW one surprised me because I was kind of like, they wouldn't like. I don't think that's like a big thing in Saudi Arabia because
Yeah.
I thought having Powerhouse Hobbs debut was dumb because the crowd didn't know who he was. But I don't know. I was just, I guess, surprised that the crowd shit on it so much.
I was like following it on social media, and people were just shitting on it from top to bottom. They shit on it during it, they shit on it afterwards. And these are not just like people who hate WWE. These like WWE fans were like, this is boring, it's bad, it's not good. Like,
Not
what are they
Squared
doing?
Circle though,
And some of the
because
choices.
they were in pure copium mode.
They hate everything.
No, they were
The people that bubble to the top of Squared Circle vary wildly depending on what the news is, and typically the things you see the most of just it hates whatever it is you're talking about.
Yeah, if you wanna be able to successfully post on our Squared Circle, I recommend hitting yourself in the head with a brick a couple of times, and then you'll be good to go.
I go there because people keep reposting the scoops. I'm sorry, Matt. I cut you off. Go ahead.
I actually have heard there's like another one. I think it's called Mid Card or something, and
That's
it's probably even worse.
That's like a circle jerk sub where they circle jerk so hard they become what they were supposedly satirizing to begin with.
I'm gonna go back a second. Like they debuted Powerhouse Hobbs, and they showed his name as Powerhouse Hobbs on like the Titantron, and then it like dissolved into Royce Keys, which is his new name. Which again, I know it's like he has a son named Royce, so I'm sure he picked the name, but it's like that's a shitty name. Like, I'm sorry, not saying his son's name is bad, but for wrestler like Royce Keys is not a good name.
It's better than
like
their
Powerhouse Hobbs. It's good.
It's better than their typical fare, but like I feel like for him it's not a great name. Like the one I came up with, like if you really have to change it, which I would have just kept Will Hobbs, but like Will Sampson or something, like giving an illusion to your strong and like your name, I think would have been a good like.
I thought that when they said he signed, and he signed like right before Rumble, I'm like they could they could debut him in the Rumble. I wasn't like surprised by that. But I also thought like that's a dumb move because you're gonna do it in front of an audience that doesn't know who you are. And then
Yeah.
people are like, whoa, no, people reacted, like they cheered. And it's like because they cheer anyone coming out for the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Like like they're not. And he came in and he didn't really do much. You know, it wasn't like he lasted until he was in the Final Four or something. Like he didn't do
Yeah.
much. So I felt like it was a waste. I thought it was like a big question. It's like, oh, is Jericho? Has Jericho left AEW, and is Jericho going to sign
I don't
with
know what's
WWE
going on with
or
him.
something? He's still on the roster page, so that implies like he's still signed with them. And some people, there is confusion. Some Meltzer said like, oh, his contract is up. I think Meltzer said two different things. I think he said like, oh, it's up in like December 2025, which is already passed. Then he was like, oh, it's at the end of January 2026. Well, now it's February, but he's still on the roster page. Some people I think have said that it's like, oh, actually, the contract doesn't end until like mid 2026. Like I
Yeah,
don't
I
I
saw
don't
that.
know. People know. I don't know that he had too much injury that he's like, oh, this injury time added. And if I don't know, like real talk, if I was him, I don't think there's a lot really going on well in the WWE. It's certainly they didn't handle the last three retirements they had AJ Styles, Cena, and Goldberg in the last like year,
Year.
not even a year, like the last like 8 months. And they weren't good. So if I'm
No.
Jericho, I'm like, I don't know that I'm
Well,
gonna do well, but
also
he
if I'm
may he
if
may
I'm
jo- he may come
Jericho,
back.
if I'm Jericho, I know I know a couple of things that would affect my negotiations with the Fed is I know I'm smarter than Triple H. I know I'm a better negotiator than Triple H. So, and I know that any bad PR that I could create towards Triple H is going to make him fold instantly. So, I am literally, if I was Chris Jericho, I would have Triple H by his ankles and like shaking every last penny out of his pockets that I could get.
But I don't know that Triple H is the one like actually making calls on that.
No,
Like yes and no.
I think he does the initial stuff, and then when he botches it, Nick Khan tries to save him. But I don't know because he did fail a lot, so maybe Nick Khan does that now.
So apparently, from some stuff I was listening to earlier today, unless you're one of the big names in the E, apparently they're lowballing folks
Oh
a
yeah, we
lot.
knew that. That's a TKO thing.
And yeah, and
That's
it's
yeah.
there. So if what would they see in Chris Jericho? Oh, it's another old dude. Eh,
Yeah, but
yeah, offer him 250,000.
but that's dumb though because I think I think I know he's fun to hate on, but I think anything you would pay pay Chris Jericho, you're gonna make back in merch and action figures and stuff and the nostalgia run. So, like even if I think he wanted a year for 2 million, I would do it. It'd be like, yeah, I'll make that, and like you'll sell enough shirts to justify that.
Yeah, you would, but I don't think that
Yeah,
if it is true they're lowballing everybody, I don't think it would make a difference.
But they have to do something though
I don't.
because it's. I know people are probably seething about it and it kind of got ignored, but Meltzer did the math last week, and by any metric, Dynamite had more live viewers than Raw last week. And he said it was probably the most
We
watched
so
wrestling show of the
he
week.
I saw that tweet and it didn't even get a lot of like attention. But going back several weeks when it was reported by I think by Meltzer, like there was some reporting going on that was allegedly like Netflix's like live numbers and people it got buried really quickly, which not to sound conspiratorially minded, it's like WWPR could have like, you know, really tried to push that out of the spotlight. So they could have been like, oh, by the way, did you know that here insert random Tony Khan has a burner on Twitter? It's like some random nonsense
Yeah.
bullshit. just so
Oh,
like some
well.
people could be talking about that all day, like versus that. But it got reported like weeks ago. Some numbers got reported because Meltzer has actually talked before about like, hey, the Netflix numbers for Raw doesn't make sense, and he's talked about it before. But if you actually paid attention to the discussion and the information that got actually disclosed,
Mhm.
it's very likely that Raw on Mondays doesn't pull it pulls well under a million viewers live.
Yeah.
And I
And
want to add to
it
that.
may increase. Okay.
I was gonna say I want to add to that too because you can tell just across the board that since they've gone to Netflix, Raw does not get the same level of engagement that it used to get.
It it does not. And when it debuted in early 2025, January 2025, the initial one worldwide, that's a key like statistic worldwide. It got like I think close to 7 million.
No, I think it got like
And then since then it's been like
5 something million.
maybe I'm giving them too much credit.
Well,
I thought
and
7.
finish your thought because I want to go into like how the numbers work for Netflix
Well,
for context.
weekly it's like I think around like 2 million or so, maybe more or less. But it's like it's worldwide numbers. It's not like in America.
Yeah,
But the info that we got at this months back, was that it's pulling under a million live or same day.
yeah.
Uh, so let's say like on Mondays, maybe 900,000 people are watching Raw, and if
Well, and
people
that's a misnomer
love to
too.
fucking
That's because if you were to click out and come
but
back, it would count as a new.
uh, well, that's true. Like, and Meltzer's talked about that, where it's like, if I literally click on Raw, watch it for like 5 minutes, and then turn to
Yeah,
something
because
else,
the one thing
and
he,
if like I
I wish he would, I wish he would. I don't think he, I don't know if he understands that part of the concept with it, but he doesn't talk about enough where the actual live numbers are not what matters. It's the watch time. It's like YouTube. Views
yes,
don't matter. It's
yeah,
the watch time you get from it. So what we would need to know is what we can't get, which is what their watch time looks like. Because they could be
yeah,
pulling under I mean if they pulled a million and everyone watched the whole show, that probably wouldn't be like terrible for them, but it's the watch time that matters. So like you could be
yeah.
getting 3 million views but only get like 800,000 people that actually watch the whole show, or someone watched the whole show and came back and like, "Oh, I want to watch like this one segment again." So then you get like, "Oh, they watched 3 hours and then they watched 5 hours." I mean, then they watched 5 minutes,
That
but that's 2 views regardless of how much time they watched.
that
Yeah, it's
that
not
cause,
being parceled
and
out.
that does matter, because I don't know how it is for you guys, or how you, if you have Netflix, how you consume it. But I have it. It's an app that's downloaded to my TV, so it's on the app is on my TV. So I can press a button on my TV and it takes me to Netflix. I have a
Yeah.
Netflix account. But with that app, and I don't know if you watch it on your phone or you watch it on a computer or however you do it, your TV, maybe it's different. But when I do the app on my TV, it's a Samsung TV. And my wife and I were like doing this the other day. Like we're like scrolling through Netflix to see like, oh, what's a show we want to watch, like whatever. And you can watch like the preview or something. But then if you linger on on a show too long, you
It
don't press
starts.
yes, I want to watch this. You just linger on it. It will auto play.
Yeah.
And a
Yeah.
show was like a show late in the day, like a show started and it had played for like 30 seconds, not a long period of time, but 30
Yeah.
seconds before I realized, because it's like I stopped because I'm doing something else for like 30 seconds. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
adjusting a pillow on the couch, or I'm like, whatever, I'm
Yeah.
getting a drink of water. I'm like, oh crap, like that's the opening credits. I don't want to watch the show, like not right now.
Mhm.
So that would,
Yeah.
in theory, count as a view. I started watching it, right? It's a view, but I watched it for 30 seconds. That's not time watching. I didn't watch this 40-minute show
Yeah.
more than 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But however they're parsing it out. But Netflix, the information we got months ago, was that it's probably drawing live or same day. It's probably getting under 1 million, and maybe it's like maybe it's 900,000.
I know
You
the
know,
number he
and
said
people
is
watch it after the fact.
this past week, all AEW had to get was like 72,000 people on Max to watch it to be more views than Raw, and we know from what we've heard they get a couple 100,000 on Max.
I've heard that it varies, and some people are like, well, it's like, well, they don't know. It's like they know because uh, this is a weird anecdote, but it correlates. Is that Welcome to Derry, that show on HBO Max? My wife and I watched it. Great show, by the way. People should watch that. But 8 episodes. When my wife and I were like enraptured by it, and they did it weekly. It was episodic. They released a new episode every week. HBO's pretty good about that. Uh, and afterwards, they're like, "Oh, it built the audience every week. Like every week, like X number of people, more and more people watched it.
Yeah.
Like the first episode was this many million people watched it. Like the last episode was like, it grew by
And that's rare.
this
That doesn't happen
this number
much.
of million people. Yeah, but it's like you do know. Like I feel like these streaming companies, like they know, maybe not like to the exact decimal, where it's like 8.7 million watched this. It's like maybe not, but if like
I think, but like
8 million
they
watched
have
this versus like 30,000 people.
they
watched
have to
this.
know
Like
though because like especially like with Disney ones like like all the caveats they put in to say something was a great premiere and then they just stop talking about it because no one watches it. Like those shows or
well, they Star Wars The Acolyte, that show, I have not watched it, but they did one season, canceled it.
Yeah.
And people got pissed off at that. It's
just a couple
didn't get the audience. It's like the PR language. It's like it didn't get the audience that we wanted, and it's like, oh, so no one watched it.
Yeah.
And you have the metrics. They have the metric.
Well, you could tell when that, because here's how, and you can tell just by like when Andor season 2 came out, you heard people talk about it, whereas like with Acolyte, no one talked about it.
Oh.
And if they talked about it, they talked about how shitty it was.
Yeah.
Like they made fun of the fire in space, and then no one talked about it again.
Yeah. Point is, like I think they know enough. And Meltzer has pointed out, HBO Max probably knows how many people watch Dynamite versus watching on cable. Dynamite's pulling like 500,000 to 600,000.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
On
though.
Cable,
they have to know, because like I'm gonna say this as a YouTuber. Like I could go into my studio, and people would have to fill out the data, but I could tell you how long people watch my channel. I could tell you where they come from. I could even tell you if they fill their stuff out. I could tell you their demographics, down their nationality, their gender. I could tell you their age. Like, so I know, for instance, like more women watch this channel than you think. It's like in the 20% range, and then it's people in their 40s and 50s, typically, like people our age that watch it. So like, and like on Twitch you can't do that as much, but yeah, YouTube I could tell you all sorts of crap about like who watches the stuff. Like they can tell you exactly like when you're like they can show you the graph of like when people are watching. Like I can watch the graph and see when people are commenting. Like there's all sorts of stuff YouTube shows you. So I imagine they might not get that in the weeds about it, but I bet you they have similar analytics.
Yeah. I'm taking a long time to say this, but basically I've heard that as much as like half to two-thirds of the Dynamite audience that watches on cable watches it on Max, which it correlates with anecdotal evidence I've heard of people who like, I literally cut cable and I'm just watching on HBO Max.
It was a surprising amount to me, because I thought that was just an added bonus, and then they started talking about like, oh yeah, this many people watch it, and I'm like, holy crap, that's like way more than I thought.
Yeah. Well, let's go with 600,000. And I think that's fair because like they changed Nielsen recently so that wrestling in general is lower, and that's across the board, even WWE. Like SmackDown has trended down.
It's bullshit. Like they fucked over, and like WWE
Oh, yeah.
got fucked over really bad by that too. Like it's bullshit what they did.
And
Yeah.
and Meltzer has actually in detail explained this, and it is actually very egregious, and it's
It
largely
was
because
intentional.
real sports.
It was
Yes,
intentional.
real
wrestling.
sports was like to get better deals. There was pressure by real sports like NBA, NFL, whatever. Like they pressured Nielsen to change things and actually stop counting. Uh, it's weirdly, I feel kind of racist because it's like stop counting like Latino homes, because Latino homes would be like, we love soccer, like we love, like Major League Baseball. They don't really watch like NBA, NFL. So there's like pressure in like the NBA. It's like stop counting them so much.
I
And
mean,
so
it is funny.
Latinos
It
who
is funny
actually
for
Latinos actually watch wrestling.
yeah.
That is actually a demographic that actually caters.
I always
So
think it's funny
they
that
just drop them.
I do think it's funny that like the NBA is like the most virtue signaling, pretends to be woke organization, and then like deep down they like always do the most racist shit possible. So I always find
Yeah.
that funny.
But they basically caused Nielsen to drop like the home. So things like wrestling, which actually there's a Latino population that actually would watch them.
Well, that
If
was
you all
what
of a
kept
sudden don't
WWE
count those
alive
homes, then
for
it's like, yeah,
like during the aughts. Like there was a while where they were being propped up by Rey Mysterio, drawing in like a
Rey
huge
Mysterio.
Hispanic audience.
Oh, the early aughts, Rey Mysterio was like bringing SmackDown numbers himself like up incredible amounts.
Like insane
Him,
amounts.
Chavo,
Like there's a
Eddie.
reason they've been trying to recreate him for 15 years now.
20 years.
Yeah.
20 years, yeah. But yeah, like the Nielsen numbers have dropped, but that's fair to say like 600,000 roughly like watch Dynamite on cable. If you add like 2/3 of that, 2/3 of 600,000 is 400,000. So you're getting like 1 million.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a little less. Like, maybe it's not quite that. But if Raw is getting like 900,000 and Dynamite's getting 900,000 to 1 million, it's like actually Dynamite may be beating Raw these days. And it's not people. There are a lot of Fed people will be like, no, it's bullshit. It's not. It's like because people still argue. Meltzer literally today was arguing on Twitter. People still responding, doing the Jim Cornette, the Eric Bischoff line. It's like there's no proof that AEW is profitable. None. It's like we're fucking 6 years into this shit.
Yeah.
Like maybe
you're kidding,
like year
right?
one, you could be like, year one, oh, they're operating at a loss. Like 6 years in, where they literally just did a deal with DC Comics. Like
Well,
there's
they're getting
AEW DC Comics.
they're getting
crossover.
100 and they're getting like their revenue's gone up every year and they're getting like almost $200 million a year from TV. But I think the people that want to argue the ratings thing though is like, no, like it makes logical sense because their show is available on more venues and it's on TV. It's not paywalled on a streaming service. We've seen from other sports going to streaming services, unless you're the NFL, because the NFL is invincible on that stuff. Like the audience doesn't come, and I've talked about before because I think it takes the urgency away from watching it, and it's more work to get to it. I mean, even though people would say, "Oh, it's just a couple clicks," like no, that stuff does matter.
Yeah, it does.
And
The more of a barrier you make to your product, the fewer people are going to pick it up.
And now AEW is available in 2 venues, so cord cutters now have access to it, and the people that still want to watch on cable TV still have Dynamite on TV. So it makes sense that they would probably be beating Raw because they have more availability for it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I thought Raw going to Netflix was a bad idea, because I've seen other leagues not do as well on streaming because, like I said, it takes the urgency out of it. Because
well, look, all of us here have watched wrestling enough times that a lot of times when when wrestling, i.e. WWE, because WCW, DCW folded in 2001.
yeah,
So when WWE has like, we're switching networks, like when they've done moves like that, they usually lose audience.
Oh yeah, when
And
they
that
went to
audience
Spike,
sometimes,
and this just shows you how ridiculous this is. So when they went from USA to Spike, they lost a chunk of the audience and never got it back. But when they
yeah,
went back to USA,
Yeah.
a lot of those people came back.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. When you do a move, like you can lose audience. And I'm sure like it's like, oh, Netflix, we're getting like, $1 billion out of the deal. Like, who cares? But it's like, but you should care because long term, unless you're replenishing that audience, if you're going to
Yeah.
lose a substantial amount of audience, then they're not going to come back. It depends, that if the demographic though is if your demographic is heavily skewed in like the 50 plus range, in wrestling, a lot of wrestling is,
Yeah.
then if you like, I'm going to move from cable to a pay service like Netflix, they're going to be like, yeah, I'm out, done.
Well, there
Unless they have
Yeah.
Netflix, it's like, oh yeah, I could easily just do this.
there's proven data that it takes about 90 days to change a habit. So like when people say boycotts don't work, like sometimes they do. Like the Budweiser boycott kind of worked because people stuck to their guns long enough to drink another beer long enough.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I like this better. So Budweiser did suffer, like, still
Yeah.
suffered sales damage from it because, like I said,
Budweiser's also screwed because it's like if you
They-
want like a cheap beer, it's like there's other cheap beer options.
well, and
Yeah.
they handled it so terribly that they doubled down and pissed the people that they already pissed off even worse. But then they backtracked, and those people were still mad at them because they saw through it. But then they pissed off other people because they like,
Yeah.
so like they just made it worse and worse and worse. But like so,
Yeah.
but what happened there
You weren't
though?
getting back the people you pissed off, and then by backtracking, you pissed
Yeah.
off the people that stayed with you.
Yeah, so they did that though. But what happened is then people stuck to their guns long enough, or mad enough about it, that they were just like, oh, well, I just drink this beer now. Because they stuck with it long enough. So like those fans go long enough without watching wrestling, they're just gonna find something else to watch.
Yeah.
As a Brad, since she's that example, as an aside, I have a friend who I've been friends with for many years, and his family like owns probably like a good amount of stock in like Budweiser.
Oops.
And when all that happened, he was like, we were so pissed off. Like what they did. And like, what the fuck are they doing? Like our stock like tanked.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you have to watch that because like there's actually, as far as habits go, and I hate when people always say that stuff. It's like, no, there's good data on people changing their habits and how it works. And when people just say like, no, you'll come back, and I always hated that with WWE. It's like, no, the ratings have gone down every year, forever. Like, so those people are obviously not coming back. So you sound like a jackass when you say that because they obviously are doing damage to their product. But so anyway, another terrible Rumble. I've just given up on the Rumble ever being good again, even though it's my favorite like pay-per-view. And they went with, I think they went with like the most boring picks possible.
Liv and Roman. Well,
Yeah.
I want to briefly talk about the Roman in a second, but someone actually did a tweet about the Rumble in general because there was only, again, how long was the show? 3-4 hours? 5 hours maybe. There was 4 matches.
Well, I mean, okay, let's
That's what they've been doing.
But let's they do that, but let's be fair. There were 2 Rumbles, and those have to be about an hour if they're done normally.
And there have been Rumbles historically that were like 4 or 5 matches.
But 2 Rumbles,
I guess the problem is like that's just how WWE is now.
2 Rumbles is too much and boring though.
Let's have a 5-hour pay-per-view that has like 4 matches.
Yeah.
To be charitable, if you give each Rumble an hour, okay, great. You had 2 or 3 other hours with 2 matches. And by the way, you made sure to tell everybody very clearly, don't care about Sammy.
Oh yeah.
Make sure you don't care about him. You thinking about caring about him? Don't. Like it's honestly, I the only way I can wrap my head around some of the decision making process is not by saying that they're too dumb to realize it, is by saying they're careless enough that they don't think about it.
Yeah, but they've always done this though. Remember like when the wrong person used to get over and they'd just be like, "Oh, you like this person? Well, we're just going to beat them into the ground until you don't care anymore."
Yeah, yeah, and you're right that it has been a thing in that company for a long time because you're supposed to like who we tell you to like. It's like,
Cuz I just saw an
Oh yeah.
interview. I just saw an interview. I think it was just recently with Christian. He was talking about when he went to TNA the first time. And he was talking about all this stuff and they just would not like, they did this thing, he got like this huge reaction, and like they went to Germany and they were like booing Batista and cheering him, and then they came back and edited it like in post. And he's like, "Yep." And then like they put him in like a pay-per-view match and then they shoved like Jericho or someone in with him and he's like, "Could you just give me a chance?" And he's like, "So I just decided to
yeah,
leave and try it in TNA."
yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
But I think
It,
I think what pisses me off most about this show, and I know, so we've talked a little bit about Braun winning the title, and I've talked about why I don't think it would necessarily work because of like choices they've made. But
mhm,
I was like, okay, that is different. That is something
Mhm.
different. Like I think building him up and maybe giving him a shot with the title is a good idea, even if it's not going to work. But like,
right.
so then they jobbed him on TV, and now it's like, so you just fucking jobbed him for nothing.
Pretty much.
Oh, well, it's literally politics. Like Roman literally stepped in and threw his weight around. Let me go through I'll go through a list that someone posted, and I'm sure there's more, but this guy posted something that I feel like it's some of the issues with the show, which is not an exhaustive list, but it's a good one. But crowd had exactly no pop for the women's rumble. Uh, Becky Lynch gets eliminated like a jobber. No AJ Lee. That's funny because like how AJ Lee is like they hyped up for AJ Lee coming back last year, and then she had one match and
Oh, I
not
thought,
seen since. I think
I
like
thought people actually kind of wanted to see that.
maybe she wants her. They want to see her, but she's had one match. Did she have a second one?
She might have had a second one.
Maybe two.
I don't know. She's been
That's
gone for like
Yeah, but
months.
that's dumb though. But like that's dumb though because like people were kind of like into it, and I don't give a shit about it. But like people online, there was kind of some buzz. She got a pretty good pop when she came back. I don't know if it helped ratings, but like I'm sure she would work a rumble. Like why not just put her in there?
They had to
And
bring Nikki Bella back for like the millionth time.
I'm just saying like that's such like that's the shit that they do and AEW does sometimes. It drives me nuts. It's like, what were you out by just flying AJ Lee out there and putting her in the rumble for a couple of minutes to make people happy?
this, because I think it's established that this is not a company that's about making its fans happy.
I
It's
know
we're
it's
going to
just,
put on there what there is. Like
but it's
the
just such.
difference that stands out to me is the philosophy is Tony Khan books stuff that he would enjoy, and as it turns out, he's got something in common with an audience, and people enjoy what he enjoys. WWE books stuff that they booked before
But like that
because I
was,
guess it worked back then.
but it's just such a. My issue with it is like she would do it. I'm pretty sure because she just came back, and that's it's one of those things that like a lot of companies do where it's like that is such like an easy like victory. Like why didn't you take it?
You don't even, it's a rumble match. Like you don't really have to even do that much. Just go and
Uh,
start brawling with people. You know,
Yeah, and then she can lay
that's it.
around. If they want her to be in there 5 or 6 minutes, maybe give her an elimination. Maybe you could have had her eliminate Becky. I don't know. Even the workers didn't
Anyway.
seem to care from the bits and pieces I've seen of it, honestly.
And
No.
wait, one other fun little wrinkle about the women's rumble is all of them had to have like the specialized gear to
Not look like a whore.
conform. Yeah, to conform with the Saudi state.
Can't show any ankle, guys. Like that's
And
too titillating.
they all had to buy their own special Saudi Arabia.
Oh yeah,
I
that
saw
came
that.
out.
That pissed
They
me off.
had to do it,
That's fucking.
and it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like that's embarrassing. Like you literally, and even your fans hype it up that you have $1 billion TV streaming, etc. deals, and it's like you can't fucking pay to have the women who you're forcing to be on the show anyway.
Yeah.
That you can't actually pay for their attire.
Yeah, because like if I was running the company,
Can't
obviously
be like everyone's.
it'd be like, okay, they want this shit. Like, I know it's stupid, but here's what we're gonna do: we're gonna pay for it because then we can go over the designs and make sure everything is fine. And then then you don't have to pay for it and whatever. Like, I know this is a pain in the butt. This is our like apology for having to put up with this, but it also makes sure everything the design is fine.
It's not hard. You get a pattern and you say, okay, what kind of colors are we doing here? What kind of border? All right, there you go. Or if they're just like, look, this is what my gear usually looks like. Could you just make something that looks like that? And they're going, okay, yeah, we've got a pattern. We'll work on this. And does everybody kind of come off looking a little samey? I guess, but they were going to.
Or if you don't want to pay for it, just be like, here's your sackcloth to go out in. Have fun.
Look. Stardom champion Saya Kamatami. She did an interview. Like she disclosed that her entrance gear, her ring gear, even like the pole and everything, like the flag she carries, like all of that, and it's very well made. It's a great presentation. She looks like a star. She's looks great. She paid, like at her own money, she paid like, in terms of like yen to dollar, the equivalent of like $6,000 for that entrance ring gear, etc., which is a lot of money, but she looks fantastic. She looks like a star. It's great ring gear. It's a great presentation.
That's one thing.
It adds to her aura.
That's one thing Honky Tonk Man talks about in shoot interviews that I think he's always dead on about. Is his advice for young workers is always like, he always says like, look, invest in your gear, like put money into it and look good. That's always something that he always advocates strongly for with young guys. Is like he's like, my suits were expensive, but like I was investing in myself and it made me look good. And he's like, that's what you got to do. He's like, you got to put money into your stuff.
Yeah. If you want your yeah. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I use that as an example because the women's ring gear for this Rumble was not going to be $6,000. But let's play devil's advocate. Let's say like each individual woman's ring gear was going to be $6,000. Okay, 6,000 times 30 is $180,000. That's a lot of money. It wasn't actually going to be that amount of money, but let's just like say that it was. $180,000 is probably a drop in the bucket.
Well, and here's the other thing:
the amount of money that they got from Saudi Arabia for this show. I'd probably wager to guess it would be maybe 1% of the money they probably got.
But the other thing with that though is
a shit ton of money for this show.
The other thing though is if you're the WWE though and you're paying for all of it, you can go to that company and be like, look, we're ordering 30 things for you and it's going to be 180,000. Like, we're ordering in bulk for me. Why don't you do 150? Because we're giving you all this work. Like, why don't you cut us a break because we might come back? And they'd probably do it. So then you get like that extra economic incentive to like of doing it all together. Like that's what but whatever. They don't give a fuck.
Oh, there's a video that got posted like the last day or two, and it's like Sol Ruka, who was in the Rumble. It's like, oh, like she it's supposed to be this cutesy video. It's like, because she's actually done this with her ring gear before. It's like, oh look, she made the ring gear, and it's like you see her like picking it and like making it. And it's like, yeah, that's great, but she had to buy all that material and do it herself. And it's like, it's one thing if it's like, no, like Honky Tonk Man, you just the example you just used. It's like, well, yeah, like I'm gonna invest in my own appearance and gear and everything like that. So I'm choosing to do this. It's like, yeah, but they don't. They're you're forcing them to go work in a country that has differing cultural views about how women should be presented. So, but it's bullshit to be like, for a multi-billion-dollar company to be like, yeah, you got to pay your own shit
for
Oh,
gear you're
this.
not
It's
going
like,
to use
fuck
again.
you. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is this is going to be used at best once a year?
Yeah,
That's it.
and God forbid,
You're not
like
going to wear that
you
again.
gain or lose weight in the interim or whatever, and then you can't wear
It's
it
going to
again.
be hot. It's going to be really uncomfortable. It's not if you don't typically wrestle in that much stuff, then it's going to feel weird and it's going to throw you off. And then you're making them fork over for it. That's really, it's just another log on the fire, but it's a really, really crappy thing to do.
I don't think cynical me. I don't think they would do that to the men's roster, but that's neither here nor there. But we won't discuss. We won't go into that.
I mean, look, they shouldn't have done it to either one.
No.
Yeah. Talking about the men's rumble really quickly. There's some more things that were from this list. Was that Braun Breaker got eliminated super quick after all that hype
Well, he
by
did. He
a
got
masked man.
he got like eliminated during an entrance too. It was like really weird the way he got eliminated. I think.
by a masked man in a hoodie, which people have pointed out, and it's like, oh, I bet they would do something that fucking stupid. Is that uh they think it's going to set up a Braun Breaker Logan Paul feud, and that the person in the hoodie may have actually been, or is supposed to be, Jake Paul, because Jake Paul, Logan's brother, who was a boxer,
He
has
hasn't
actually made,
recovered from that broken
just had
jaw
his-
yet.
no, he hasn't, but he's made comments before where it's like, oh, like keep an eye out, where people are expecting like he's gonna have some interaction with Logan and in the WWE. So like, I don't put it past them to do some stupid shit like this. But
Yeah.
he did. That was only. It would be. He'd probably have another couple weeks before his jaw would eat, because he got his jaw fucked pretty bad.
look, it was Masked Man, so it's like I'm not saying it's gonna be Jake Paul versus Braun at the Rumble. It could be at the Mania. It could be Braun Breaker Logan Paul.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
as
though
the
is
match they're doing.
what I'm saying though is, like, you would probably need another couple weeks of jerking around or ignoring it to even debut Paul and like Jake in a position to like actually speak well and stuff, because his jaw's
Yeah.
still fucked.
And
It
what is
does go to
this?
It does go to your point that it's like Braun Breaker in theory should have won this, and it should be like,
Well,
you know,
Gunther
CM
should have
Punk
won.
versus- well,
Honest.
yeah, but I mean, let's say Braun Breaker versus CM Punk at Mania for the title, you know, which makes sense because like Braun Breaker should be like the next guy, right? You should be
Yeah,
pushing him as a star.
but he's not 50, so he has to wait another 30 years.
Some more from the list really quickly. Rusev gets eliminated in under 20
That
seconds,
was-
which is hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Because one of he big leagued AEW. It's like, oh, I'm too good to like job for you clowns, and it goes and he's done nothing but job, and it gets bitched out in 20 seconds. It's like, fuck
Yeah.
you, fuck around and find out. You're the finding out portion of this. Also, it's the entrance coming out way too fast, like every 30 seconds at times. I didn't watch it, so I don't know that. But again, it should be every 60 seconds, but I don't know what they're doing.
I don't even like 60 seconds. It should be like 90 or 2 minutes, because you need time to like.
If it's
they
every
had-
60 seconds, you don't have time to set anything up for like a big elimination.
Yeah, because
They
I actually watched it got recommended to me on YouTube because they have it, I think, on the WWE page. But like the first Rumble, they had Axe and Smashes number 1 and 2, and they're just like, whatever, and they just start like wailing on each other until
But
the next guy comes
that was
out.
great. That was setting up to everyone for himself. They just like, it's like, Let's start beating each other up. It's like, and I love that. That was amazing.
Well,
back
I,
in the
I
day.
also love the idea of like being tag partners and being in that situation and just being like, meh, like we'll be fine after this, and just beating the shit out of
Yeah.
each other and being like, ah, we're cool.
Yeah.
Like they should do that with FTR and AEW sometime. Just have them like
Yeah.
in a situation like that where they just start going to town on each other because they have to.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
or it could be you send them out there and they look at each other and then they shrug and then they just stand shoulder to shoulder and wait for the next person. Go all or nothing on it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
All right. Almost finishing the list. Like reading down. No certain stars like Finn Balor or Kit Wilson. They said like, oh, Kit Wilson was considered, but no Aleister Black. Black.
That's because
but
he
they
would
had
be
two.
he would be
They
he
had
would literally be killed for heresy. That's why he wasn't in the Rumble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, he came out pretty well ahead because he didn't have to get on the plane and fly all the way over there.
Yeah, and be
I thought
killed.
he did. I thought he
Did
did,
he?
and then he wasn't used.
Okay, then I'm just
I could not
fucking
I
clown.
could not imagine he was ever on the table for Saudi Arabia.
But it's like they didn't use certain people, but they had two El Grande Americanos.
Oh,
So
fuck. No, there's like
uh,
3 of them now because
there's three
there's
because
like
it's Ludwig von Kaiser, and then it's Pete Dunne and
Yeah.
Tyler Bate. Anyway,
Gable's
you had
back now.
you had Obafemi, who should have come out there and had like the Kane, Braun Strowman, etc. thing where he's just like tossing like half the guys out.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He came out there, had a stare down with Brock Lesnar, and then Brock Lesnar like eliminated him.
well, we know why that
So
happened.
there you go. Which is also like in all the consideration, it's like, wow, there's a lot of chatter about Brock Lesnar and how he's chumped out people of a certain complexion in the WWE before. So you have like this big and incredibly jacked black dude who should be like one of your next big stars, and you have him stare down Brock Lesnar, who just fucking throws him over the top. He eliminates him.
I will say in his defense, he did put Keith Lee over in that one Rumble.
Yeah.
Like, I know people would say that's not putting him over, but like Lesnar's glee and being like, "Ooh, big boy," like that is putting him over.
For
Yeah,
Brock,
that
that
was
was
funny.
putting someone over.
Yeah. But
Anyway.
we know why that happened though, so we won't go
Yeah.
into that.
But speaking of Brock gets eliminated, not in a big spot, but during when Jey Uso comes in and decides to run back his entrance.
He's
in
just
the
gonna
Rumble,
do.
which
He's
is
just gonna
one
do
of the
that.
most,
He's just gonna do
which
that.
is
all
one
the
of the
time.
most embarrassing things. Yeah. And then of course,
Sometimes
finally,
it
Roman Reigns wins the Rumble without even announcing himself properly. He just did a video package saying, "I'm going to join the Rumble." And then, of course, I said I want to talk about Roman. Like he did on Raw last night. He had a big promo with CM Punk, which was well received, but basically said like CM Punk, like I fucking hate your guts, like many of us, and it's like I chose you to have a Mania main event because I fucking hate you, and you made my life a living hell, and fuck you, and
Didn't they?
But
Didn't they
apparently they
wrestle
also
at
spent
Mania
10 minutes
last year?
shitting on Cody and Drew and SmackDown and the other world title, and it's like this is actually amazing.
Didn't they wrestle at Mania last year?
Triple
Punk
threat, I
and
think.
Reigns.
It was Rollins, Reigns, and Punk.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it was that.
I had heard people speculating that it was going to be Braun and Rollins at Mania, which again, that's not a good idea because one, you don't get anything from beating Rollins, and two, it might actually hurt his overness because people don't care about Rollins as much as like he gets online chatter, and he does get like cheers for his entrances, but like people don't care. Like anytime he gets the world title, people immediately tune out.
Oh, and by the way, just from the stills from that promo segment, whenever not the stills, but the clips, whenever Roman's getting in his face and it's like you went on your little buddy's little podcast and made my life harder and worse. it cuts back over, and Punk is looking like he's trying to mean mug, but he's looking like he's trying not to cry. It's like, are you kidding me? Seriously?
I just
Mr. Big Bad, I'm the best promo in the world, and it's like you're hung out to dry again. Are you going to say Roman went into business for himself? Is that what's going to happen?
I
Are you
just
going to send that to all of your fans?
what is even the point of the Punk reign if it's just going to be Roman with the title again? Then he's going to fuck off and
Oh, look, I don't like Punk. I don't like Roman. It's gonna ruin the whole joke about my personal like hating on CM Punk that he's never had an actual true main event because
I
the
guess it'll be
last
night
match
one. I guess it'll
the
be night one.
last match of it could no that'd be the most hilarious if Punk Roman is night one because no one at this it's certainly after the promo last night. No one gives a fucking shit about Cody versus Drew again. They've wrestled about 100 times in the last like year.
Well, and the thing is
Like no
though,
one gives a shit about that, and
like
it's
the
actually
thing
people are
is,
turning on Cody.
but
Like
the
Cody
thing
did
is though,
SmackDown, and it's like, oh, like people want me to win the Rumble, right? And he got booed. Like people
but
don't fucking care about Cody
but
anymore.
the thing is though, like, well, he needs to turn heel, but like Drew is not like credible. Like that's the other reason people don't
No, they
care.
fucked his booking up terribly.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
like
you've spent years telling everybody that he doesn't matter.
so you don't even have to be like a hardcore fan like us. I would imagine like the most casual fan, like when he won, is just like, oh, this is just so Cody can win it back at Mania. Like I imagine every fan thought that and instantly like didn't care.
Oh,
Because
I've seen people like Ibu be like, no, like you should either make it be Cody versus Jacob Fatu or a three-way with Cody and Drew and Jacob Fatu. Like elevate Jacob Fatu.
you know, Ibu's been kind
Uh,
of spitting facts lately because there was another one you sent us talking about how again it's one of those things where I've been right for a long time where he was talking about like if you look at the totality of AEW when they have been at their hottest has been when Kenny Omega is the champion or strongly pushing for the championship.
Yeah, that's true.
well,
I
yeah,
don't know. It seems to me Ibu is either entirely hot or entirely cold
Well,
here
the
lately.
thing with
Yeah, I'm
Ibu
sorry,
is
Matt.
the thing with Ibu is I have a really weird like relationship with him in my head because I don't like him, but I also don't think he's like totally a grifter, and I think like he is like an actual fan, and like he says a lot of dumb shit, but like the actual wrestling fan comes through in a lot of stuff. So I'm kind of like, I don't necessarily like you, but like I also think you are coming from a place as a fan more often than not.
I my take on him is that he's a little bit of a try hard, and let me explain what I mean by that. Is that I think in his heart he's a fan,
Yeah,
and I can disagree with him because his fandom skews towards the WWE. But I think he actually is a wrestling fan, where he's not. The sun doesn't rise and set with WWE. He will sometimes talk about how like, oh man, I saw this awesome like Noah match, Pro Wrestling Noah from Japan, or I saw this awesome like All Japan match. It's like, so I think it's like, no, you're a wrestling fan, like you watch just beyond the WWE, because that's WWE fans like other wrestling doesn't exist. They could be like, oh, I hope this wrestler comes to WWE. It's like, name me their 5 best matches. They can't even name you one match, not even like their 5 best. It's like
Look,
they can't even name like one match because they don't
if
watch it. They just know like this person, they've heard this person's good, so oh, they must come to the WWE.
if
But
they watch other stuff and they say this is just what I prefer, fair play, fine. I don't agree
yeah,
with you, but fine. But
but
man,
where I feel Ibu is a tryhard is because I think he does have sources, and the main source is CM Punk. I think CM Punk talks to him, but he may have other people that in the business he knows and talks to. I think he probably, based on some things he got in trouble with his Discord, he probably talks to people like Britt Baker or some other people. But he sometimes I think like discloses info like from his sources or whatever, and it's like you probably should not say this shit, and
mhm.
you like it actually reflects negatively upon you, especially since he linked up with and I think is somewhat associated with her on the payroll for Sean Ross Sapp.
Yeah,
So
we
it's
need.
like he
I need
does not behoove you to be like
I
disclosing bullshit,
Sean
you know.
Ross Sapp. I know you watch us because everyone watches us. I'm just kidding, but we need to.
No.
Sean, you need to give me a call, and we need to have a talk with the people you are starting to hire and are representing your brand and are absolutely destroying your credibility. And you need to make better choices, buddy. Just saying. And I'm not doing that to call it Ibu, but he's got some other people that are on the payroll that are just
Yeah.
absolute embarrassments. He needs to make better choices.
Yeah.
Cause like I like cause like I know people clown on Meltzer, but like the people that are involved with the Observer are not like routine embarrassments like some of the Fightful people are.
There no. I will say that Brian Alvarez is
No,
he kind of clowns himself
but
these days, but
Brian Alvarez is playing a character at times. But even like the people on there I don't like. Like I don't necessarily like Garrett, but like Garrett does not.
oh,
But Garrett does not actively do things like he does not actively
he
do
doesn't
things that drag the Observer group down. Like I just don't like him or his takes. But
yeah.
he doesn't do things where it's like because there are people on Fight for I'm just like, why is he even paying you? Because you are like you're a
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
mark.
Oh, well, and there are people that and Sean has actually had to deal with the fallout. They're because he's like associate. He recently who is it, Wrestle Purist or something. I don't know.
I
He
think it was
associated
just
with some group recently that it's like this group is literally just 100% WWE propaganda.
yeah.
You know, and he's actually been called out, and unfortunately,
He doesn't
he's
handle that
actually
well.
his response he's not handling it well. His response has been like, well, this is what people want, you know, like people pay me like they want like this kind. It's like if you publish bullshit, like your response is like, oh, well, this is what, you know, the news that people want. It's like that's in a weird way that's the equivalent of like, well, I was just following orders. It's like no, you don't get to wash your hands. It's like
No, you're
the
grifting.
people want slop, guys. Like, what do you want me to
Yeah,
do? It's like,
you're getting into
well, if you
grift.
have
You're getting into grift territory when you're doing that.
yeah, it's like if you have like some sort of editorial standard, maybe don't just publish propaganda.
Like
And if you do publish
if
propaganda, you don't get to whitewash and be like, well, it's what people want, right? It's
well, and
like,
his
no.
response was stupid. If he would have just said like, "This is an entertainment wing. Like, you shouldn't be taking them seriously for news." Like, I would say, okay, like whatever. Like, I don't necessarily agree with that,
Hey,
but that's
you know
better.
what? If the statement was, "This is not the news part of it. This is the commentary part,"
Fair
you
play.
okay? We've got you got something to work with there.
Yeah, but he didn't do
Yeah.
that. He's really he's really devalued himself in the last like 6 months, in my opinion. Like,
Mm.
I don't know. He's just making bad choices.
Yeah.
But I think we're gonna call that a week there. I think we're gonna try. I think a couple more weeks on the match a week thing. I kind of like because we'll do some bigger shows and then we won't do the match a week, obviously. But like I kind of like having a match in there to break up like talking about stuff too.
Yeah.
It lets us sneak some like weird little stuff in there. But I think if I can find it, next week is probably going to be the one we talked about. It's going to be the Real World Tag League. It's going to be Nagata and Izuki versus Fuchi and Kawada. But that is it for this week. Thank you for joining us as always. We've been in 3 corners and you've been in the 4th, and we will catch you next time.